Welcome to Story Reading in English. Today's story is called She Knew Everything. This is a Level 3 English listening story. As you listen, pay attention to how we use the past perfect and reported speech together to talk about things that happened before other events and what people said or knew. Let us begin. My name is Grace, and for 12 years I thought Diana was the best friend I had ever had. I thought she was the kind of person who only comes into your life once, the kind you call at 2 in the morning when everything has fallen apart, the kind who sits with you in hospital waiting rooms without being asked, the kind who remembers the small things, your mother's birthday, the name of the doctor you were afraid of, the sandwich you always ordered when you were sad. Diana was all of those things. Or I believed she was. That belief lasted 12 years. Then it ended on a Tuesday afternoon in March, and everything I thought I knew about loyalty, about friendship, about the people we choose to keep close, all of it had to start again from nothing. I met Daniel at 28. We had been introduced through mutual friends at a dinner party. He was warm and easy to talk to. He made me laugh in a way that felt natural, like the laughter was already there and he simply found it. Diana had been at that dinner. She had sat across the table and watched us talk all evening. She told me afterwards, "Grace, he is exactly what you deserve." We married 2 years later. Diana was my maid of honor. She stood beside me at the altar, straightened my veil, held my bouquet while I said my vows. She cried during the ceremony. Real tears. I remember looking at her from the altar and thinking, this is what it means to have a true friend, someone who is as happy for your life as you are. The first 4 years of my marriage were good. Not perfect, nothing ever is, but genuinely good. Daniel worked long hours, so did I. We built a life together the way most couples do, slowly, with small arguments about small things. I was happy, or I believed I was, which at the time felt like the same thing. In our 5th year, something changed. Small things at first. Daniel coming home later than usual, his phone always face down at the table at dinner, a coldness in his eyes that had not been there before. I noticed all of it. I told myself I was worrying too much. I told myself that marriages go through difficult periods, and this was simply one of them. I talked to Diana about it. Of course I did. She was the first person I called. I sat in her kitchen on a Saturday morning and told her everything I had noticed, the late evenings, the phone, the coldness. I watched her face carefully as I spoke. She listened, she nodded, she poured me more coffee, and then she said, "Grace, you are thinking about this too much. Daniel loves you. Some men just go through quiet periods. Give him time." I believed her, because she was Diana, because she had never given me a reason not to. I gave him time. Another year passed. Another. The coldness became something I had learned to live with, the way you learn to live with a door that does not close properly, or a light that flickers in the hallway. You stop noticing it after a while, or you pretend to. It was Diana's younger sister who told me the truth, not Diana. Her sister, a woman I had met perhaps 6 or 7 times over 12 years. She called me on a Tuesday afternoon in March, her voice quiet and sorry, and she told me she could not stay silent any longer. She said Diana had known about Daniel from the beginning, before the wedding. She had seen messages on his phone at a gathering 2 months before our ceremony. She had spoken to Daniel privately. He had told her it meant nothing. He had asked her not to say anything. And Diana, my maid of honor, the woman who had straightened my veil and cried real tears at my altar, had agreed. She had agreed to say nothing. For 7 years she had known. She had sat in my kitchen and listened to me talk about my own marriage falling apart and told me I was worrying too much. She had held my hand at dinner tables and birthday celebrations and quiet coffee mornings. She had watched me live inside something broken and chosen silence every single time, for 7 years. I put the phone down and sat very still for a long time. I thought about every conversation we had ever had about Daniel. Every time I had doubted myself and she had told me everything was fine. Every time her words had sent me back into something I should have left sooner. I thought about the years I had given to a marriage that she had known from the beginning was built on a lie. And I thought about a question I could not answer. Why? Not why Daniel. I understood Daniel. People make selfish choices. That is painful, but it is something I could eventually understand. What I could not understand was Diana. Why had she stayed silent? What had she been protecting? Me? Herself? Or something else that I had never been able to see? I called her that evening. She answered on the second ring. I asked her one question. I said, "Did you know?" Vocabulary pause. Before we continue the story, let us learn the meaning of some key words we have seen so far. Loyal. Always supporting and being honest with someone you care about. Paranoid. Feeling worried that people are trying to deceive you when they are not. Ceremony. A formal event to celebrate or mark an important occasion. Silence. Choosing not to speak when you know something important. Selfish. Caring only about yourself and not about how your actions affect others. Now that you have learned some of the key words, let us continue with the story. The silence on the other end of the line lasted a very long time. Then she said, "Grace, I was trying to protect you." I said, "You protected him for 7 years. You protected him." She started to cry. I listened to her crying for a moment. Then I said, "I need you to not call me for a while." And I ended the call. I will not tell you that what followed was easy. It was not. Ending a marriage is painful in ways that are hard to put into words. But losing Diana was a different kind of pain. The marriage had been broken for years before I knew it. Diana had been standing right beside me the whole time, someone I trusted completely, until the moment she was not. Losing a close friendship is a strange kind of pain. There is no ceremony for it, no words that quite fit. You simply wake up one morning and the person you would have called about this exact kind of hurt is the reason for it. I spent a long time feeling angry. Then I spent a long time asking why. Then slowly, not quickly, not easily, I began to understand something. Diana's silence had not come from cruelty, it had come from fear. Fear of losing me if I was angry at her for telling the truth. Fear of a difficult conversation she did not know how to start. Fear of a truth that was too heavy for her to share. None of that made it right, but it made it human, and understanding it, even without completely forgiving it, helped me begin to move forward. I learned something that year that I still carry with me. The people closest to you are not always the ones who will tell you the truth. Real friendship is not measured by how long someone has been in your life. It's measured by what they are willing to say when the truth is hard. Anyone can sit beside you in the easy moments. Real friendship means speaking up even when staying quiet is easier. Diana knew everything, and her silence cost me years I cannot get back. But it also taught me what to look for in a friend. Not the person who always makes you feel good, but the person who tells you the truth even when it is difficult. Those people are rare, but they are the only ones truly worth keeping. In today's story, we practiced the past perfect and reported speech together. We heard sentences like, "She had known for 7 years, she never said a word." Diana said she was trying to protect her. Her sister told her she could not stay quiet any longer. The past perfect shows us what had already happened before another event. Reported speech shows us what someone said without using their exact words. Together, they help us tell stories about time, truth, and the things people choose to say or not say. Thank you for listening to She Knew Everything. If this story made you feel something, write one sentence in the comments using reported speech. Tell us something someone once said to you that you never forgot. We read every comment. Remember to like the video, share it, and subscribe to Story Reading in English. Your support helps more stories reach people like you. With every story, our English gets better and our hearts get stronger.